There is no need to chase, strive, or hope for what is already yours by divine right. Creation is finished. Every outcome you could ever desire already exists in the eternal now. You do not need to create anything. You need only to select it. When you desire something, that very desire is life's whisper telling you it already exists within the field of possibility. You do not desire something that is impossible. You only become aware of that which already is. The moment you long for something, it has already been made ready for you. The only question that remains is, will you claim it in consciousness? You claim by feeling, not by words, not by effort, not by begging, but by the deep inner knowing that what you seek is already done. You are not praying for something to happen. You are declaring within that it already has. You move your awareness to the end. You live in the feeling of the wish fulfilled, not because you are lying to yourself, but because you are waking up to what is real. Everything you now see around you is a reflection of a former assumption. So to change your world, you do not fight the shadow, you change the light within. You choose to feel now what you expect to feel then. If you long for love, then feel yourself as beloved. If you seek abundance, then rest in the ease of knowing you are already provided for. If you yearn for healing, then dwell in the peace of being whole. Your only job is to occupy the state. Rest in it. Return to it. Saturate yourself in it until it becomes more real than your senses. Do not confuse appearances with reality. Reality is invisible. Reality begins in the imaginal act. What you dare to feel is true. It is your inner world that constructs the outer. And so instead of reacting to what is, revise it. Reject anything that contradicts your desire. If it doesn't align with the state of the wish fulfilled, it is not part of your truth. To assume the wish fulfilled is to live from the end. It means walking, talking, breathing as the version of you who already has it. And you will know you are on the right path, not by what the world shows you, but by how your inner state begins to shift. The outer must conform. The world bends to the soul who remains faithful to the unseen. To relax. Let go of how. Let go of when. You don't chase the outcome. You become the version of you who already holds it. There is no distance between you and your desire except belief. The moment you accept it as done, it is done. What you feel to be true now becomes your tomorrow. And when it comes, and it will come, you will look back and laugh at how simple it really was. You didn't force it. You didn't earn it. You remembered it. You aligned with the version of you who already had it. And in that moment you'll understand the wish fulfilled was never in the future. It was always now, just waiting for you to notice. The world you experience is not moved by your effort, your striving, or your force. It is moved by your consciousness. When you truly understand this, something within you relaxes. You stop trying to move the pieces on the board and instead you become still. You turn inward. You return to the center of your being where all true power resides. In that stillness you remember, life does not respond to noise. It responds to clarity. It responds to conviction. It responds to inner knowing. When your mind is frantic, filled with doubt, fear, or urgency, your outer world becomes chaotic. You are projecting a fractured signal, and the world simply reflects it back to you. But when you become quiet, when you enter the sacred stillness of certainty, everything begins to move in ways you could never orchestrate. Stillness is not passivity. It is not resignation. It is potent presence. It is trust so deep that you no longer need to see before you believe. You no longer need evidence to feel secure. You are the evidence. You carry the conviction that what you desire is already yours. And from this deep stillness, movement begins. Not movement that is forced or calculated, but movement that is graceful, inevitable, and divinely orchestrated. People begin to show up. Opportunities present themselves. Paths you never could have imagined begin to unfold with perfect timing. Why? Because the outer world is simply responding to your inner state. You do not beg reality to change. You do not push and pull at circumstances like a sculptor fighting the clay. You become still, and you see it done within. You rest in the end. You relax into the knowing that your assumption is planting seeds in the unseen, and life is rearranging itself to bring your vision into form. This is the secret most miss. The power is not in the noise, but in the silence. Not in the trying, but in the knowing. Not in the struggle, but in the stillness. When you enter stillness, you allow yourself to be moved by something greater than effort. You tap into the flow of divine intelligence that is always guiding, always responding, always shaping itself according to your dominant inner state. And so, let the mind rest. Let the questions fall away. Let the doubt dissolve. You do not need to fix, control, or manipulate the world. You need only to become still and choose. Choose the feeling of peace. Choose the feeling of already having. Choose the end and rest in it. For when you are still within, the universe begins to move without. And in time, with perfect ease, you will witness the miraculous. There is a quiet truth hidden in plain sight. The more desperately you cling to something, the more it slips from your grasp. Not because you are unworthy of it, but because your desperation is a loud signal of lack. It says, I do not have, and whatever you affirm, consciously or unconsciously, is what life reflects back to you. Neediness is rooted in fear. It is the inner cry that says, what if I never receive it? Or I must get this now, or I'll be lost. It is a state of separation, a belief that the thing you desire is far away, out of reach, and must be earned or chased. And yet, all things come through you, not to you. When you forget this, you become a beggar before your own creation. The detachment. True detachment is not indifference. It is not cold, and it is not passive. It is deep, powerful trust. It is the calm certainty that what you desire is already yours, and you do not need to hold your breath or chase after it. You can relax. You can smile. You can carry on in peace because you know the outcome is inevitable. Detachment says, whether I see it now or later, it is already mine. It does not deny the desire. It simply refuses to worship it. It refuses to make it bigger than the self, for the self is the operant power. And so when you release the grip, when you stop checking, doubting, and measuring how close it is, something magical happens. It begins to move. It finds its way to you quietly, naturally, as if it had been searching for you all along, because in truth it has. In that space, your desire breathes. It begins to bloom not under the weight of your fear, but in the freedom of your faith. The more you let go, the more you allow, and what you allow flows to you effortlessly. You do not need to prove anything. You do not need to perform for the universe. You simply need to believe, not as a performance, not as a trick, but as an unshakable knowing. You were never meant to struggle your way into manifestation. You were meant to feel your way there, with ease, with joy, and with trust. So let the fear go. Let the urgency dissolve. You have already asked. You have already imagined. It is done. Now rest in that truth. Move through your day with the energy of one who knows. Feel the ease. Feel the arrival. Feel the certainty. Because when you relax, you become magnetic. You signal, I have. And life, which always listens, responds with, yes, you do. So be still, be calm, be free. The more you let go, the faster it comes, not because you gave up, but because you finally let it in. We have been conditioned to believe that time is the gatekeeper of our desires, that we must wait, work, strive, and then perhaps what we seek will arrive. But this is the lie of the senses. Time is not the master of creation. It is merely a measurement of unfolding. And unfolding is never outside of you. It begins and ends in your consciousness. It takes the bold and quiet knowing that what you desire is already yours in the unseen. That there is no waiting in spirit. There is only alignment. The moment you accept the reality of your desire inwardly, time must bend around your assumption. Events shift, people move, paths appear, not because time passed, but because you changed. Time is a servant, not a ruler. It obeys your inner world. When you say someday, you push your desire into the distance. But when you say now and feel it now, you collapse time. You bring the end into the present, and life must mirror that choice. Understand, the delay is never about external conditions. The delay is always in your readiness to receive, not in the physical sense, but in your willingness to believe. Are you willing to drop the identity of the seeker? Are you willing to feel as the one who already has? So many wait for proof before they feel the joy. They wait for the manifestation before they allow the satisfaction. But in doing so, they unknowingly hold it at bay. Because in this world, you receive what you are willing to embody. Not tomorrow, not next year, now. The bridge of incidents, the unfolding of events may take place in linear time, but the decision is made in the eternal now. Time does not cause the manifestation, your assumption does. Your sustained inner conviction begins the sequence that bends all things to fulfill your state. Think of this. When you dream at night, do you need time for your desires to form? No. They appear instantly, because in the dream, belief and reality are one. And so it is here in this waking life. You are dreaming still, but in a slower dimension. The laws are the same. The mechanics of manifestation do not change. The only difference is your perception of time. When you know this, you stop asking when. You stop worrying about how long. You simply feel it done. You live from the end, and you trust that what you have accepted must become visible not by force, not by effort, but by law. So if something appears delayed, do not panic, do not chase, do not despair. Go inward. Ask yourself, have I truly accepted this as mine? Because when you do, time will bow, it will twist and fold and deliver what you declared as real, without needing your permission, your planning, or your logic. Everything you have ever touched, seen, or experienced began first in the unseen. The clothes you wear, the chair you sit on, the building you're in, all of it began in the imagination of someone who dared to believe in what was not yet visible. Imagination is not fantasy. It is not daydreaming. It is creation in its purest form. It is the original act. When you imagine something with clarity, with emotional conviction, and with inner acceptance, you have created the blueprint in the unseen. And once the blueprint exists, the outer world must follow suit. It has no choice. It is law. You are not imagining for fun. You are imagining to build. Each imaginal act, deeply felt and fully believed, is a seed planted in the field of consciousness. You may not see it sprout the next day, but it is growing beneath the surface. Life is always moving to match the vision you hold within. Imagination is the real substance. What the senses show you is simply the echo of a past assumption. Reality is not coming from what you see, it is coming through what you imagine. And until you learn to honor your imagination as the cause, you will continue to live as a victim of effects. When you close your eyes and enter the state of the wish fulfilled, when you feel the joy, the gratitude, the relief of your desire already realized, you are not pretending. You are entering the only place where true creation occurs. You are calling it into being. The outer world is slow. It moves like the shadow cast by the light of your mind. But your imagination is immediate. It is the language of spirit. It does not need permission, nor does it require logic. It simply needs your attention and your belief. What you imagine and accept as true is true, not because the world confirms it instantly, but because you, the operant power, have declared it so. And the moment you feel it real, you've done the work. Everything that happens after is simply the unfolding of that act. You may be tempted to look for evidence, to doubt when nothing seems to change. But understand this, the delay is not denial, it is preparation, it is alignment, it is the outer reality bending and shaping itself around your inner world. So do not be moved by appearances, be moved by what you imagine, be moved by the unseen, for that is the only place where truth begins. Return to your imagination often. Live there. Move there. Speak there. Let it become more real to you than your past, your doubts, or your fears. There is no one outside of you pulling the strings of your life, no fate written in stone, no power in the sky determining what you may or may not have. You are the operant power, the cause, the center, the source. It is not your background, not your education, not your circumstances that dictate what comes into your world. It is your consciousness. What you accept as true, what you consistently dwell upon, what you dare to believe. This is what shapes your reality. Life is not responding to your effort, it is responding to your assumption. Effort belongs to the world of shadows, assumption belongs to the world of causes. You may toil endlessly and see no change if your inner belief remains fixed in lack or doubt. But the moment you change your self-concept, the moment you know yourself as one who already possesses the thing you desire, the entire structure of reality begins to rearrange. And here is the miracle. Nothing outside needs to change first. You do, and you can in an instant. You are not required to convince anyone else. You are not waiting for permission. You are not dependent on luck. Your only responsibility is to accept within yourself the truth of what you want, to see it, to feel it, to live from the end now. That is the mark of the operant power. It is quiet, it is internal, it moves in stillness and certainty, while others react to the world. The operant power commands it not with force, but with assumption. Stop asking the world for proof. The world is your mirror, not your master. If the reflection isn't to your liking, you do not shout at the mirror. You adjust your face. You adjust your state of being, and the world must reflect back what you now are. If you want love, become love. If you want wealth, assume the ease of one who is already provided for. If you want peace, release the need to control and rest in trust. Nothing changes until you do, and once you do, everything does. The most liberating truth you will ever realize is this: it is all you, not in a burdensome way, but in the most empowering way imaginable. You do not need to beg, you do not need to wish. You need only to decide and remain faithful to your decision. Persist in the knowing that you are the creator of your reality, not by force, not by action alone, but by consciousness, by the inner stance you hold as true, by the unseen inner world you return to again and again. And when the world begins to reflect what you have long accepted within, do not be surprised. So now you know your life is not unfolding at the mercy of chance, time, or external forces. It is unfolding according to your consciousness. There is nothing to chase, nothing to force, nothing to wait for. When you become still within, when you feel your wish is already fulfilled, when you dare to imagine boldly and detach lovingly, the entire universe begins to move in harmony with your inner world. It's not about making it happen, it's about allowing it to unfold through your conviction, through your stillness, and through the quiet power of knowing it is already done. Thank you for walking this journey within, where the true work is done, and the outer world must always respond. Thank you.